As four podcasters crawl out of their hovel to see if a shadow casts along the ground during town's long sleep in front of goal, we contemplate a name change as I'm joined by the Bill Murray of Huddersfield Town Twitter, Danny G, Neil and Kosi. This is Andy Takes That Chance, episode 11, Groundhog Day.
Has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that
chance! Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening, Matt.
So, shall we change it to Andy Fluff That Chance, or are we not ready to go down that route?
No, we're not doing that yet. Too negative.
So, Liverpool came, gone. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Same story again, isn't it? We played really well, created some chances, fluffed a few chances, and they were clinical. That touch of class from Salah, but it's encouraging again. But we've got to start getting some points on board, haven't we? So can't keep saying this every week.
It's true. So if we look at the stats there, Danny, so possessions 48-52, very close. 13 shots to us to 11 for Liverpool. Only one on target from us, 2 for them, and a couple of corners.
I can't remember 2 on target for them. I remember goal.
Yeah, I think
Salah put in one
smothered one, didn't he?
yeah.
I think Lössl smothered one, but I think that
there were a couple of chances. I think, I said chances where they were last. If it had gone past the leg, I think they'd have been through and stuff. And
yeah, the one of them there, with Firmino, weren't they?
Yeah,
Awful pass.
But we were chasing the game. But yeah, I think what were pleasing for me about Saturday, not we've lost, but because normally we've been. I mean, Tottenham, bang bang. We're kind of finished 2 goals, but I always felt. It was quite exciting. I was like at the edge of my seat, second half, going, wow, come on, Tom, we can do this. When normally you're thinking a goal is and we're finished. So that was really positive for me, that we kept going and going. Maybe when you kept going at 2 goals down, maybe I don't notice that. I must admit, I didn't see much of the Tottenham second half. But Liverpool, yeah, I always thought we were in there. And obviously, we'll talk about that, probably the chance later on. But yeah, that were different, I thought, than some of the other games against the big boys, even if the result were the same.
We went toe-to-toe, and I think it was a very, very encouraging performance. I think we've created a few chances. We should have scored.
Should Mooney have buried that? It looked like it was rising a little bit to me, but should he have put
When you look at it at the time, you think, that's awful. My only slight defence is when you look at it back, it took a bounce just as they were kicking it and on the rise. But
what I'd say again,
I think you've still got to put it in.
I'm going to say again, and we've said it on this podcast time after time, but one of the other problems I thought with that chance, the Potter were on the field with Mooney and they nearly again crashed into each other in a desperation for that scrap.
Yeah, I think he distracted him.
It was so frustrating. Again, we've said it before, but again, we're
it don't work.
On that. It don't, mate.
It
but
don't
that
work.
cost us a chance.
Yeah,
because,
it don't work.
I agree with you, Danny.
We've still not scored a goal while those 2 have been on the field at the same time.
Well, I said to the chap behind me when he come on, he went, "Oh, we're going 2 up front." I just turned around and I said, "Don't get your hopes up." I said, because these 2 there's never scored when these 2 went up pitched together. And he just went, ugh.
I think Mounier snatched it, but that's because I think he gave himself a split second to analyse whether Depoitre's going for it or not.
Yeah.
If Depoitre's not there, Mounier just focuses on the shot, doesn't he?
I think you're right. I think it's like Matt said on numerous occasions. They are basically in that situation the same player. They do the same things. So it
was so interesting.
It just don't work.
I wasn't there. I watched the game in a bar with no sound, which some would probably say is a good thing. When Chris Sutton, I think, was a co-commentator, and what have you. You see sort of different stuff because you've not got that kind of emotion in the ground. And I know you like getting on your clappers, Neil. So I don't know how much of the games kind of you'll see. But the one thing that was kind of evident. Just the slowness of I know we're comparing apples and pears, but I think we had a break later on where I can't remember who it was that could have pushed it out and we were in, but it took so slow to come back. And I remember again, Mounier had done some brilliant skill late at the end. I don't know, he kind of turned someone, and I was like, wow, it'd probably be on the Soccer AM show, but then he slows it and lays it back, and then the Liverpool goal is everything that
emphasis has gone.
Yeah, and I know we're operating on lower quality, but it's so frustrating because we're doing a lot of good things, mate.
I think that as well. That's a lot to do with lack of goals as well, because they almost don't want to be the one to take the responsibility to have a shot. I mean, how unlucky is Johnny Hogg, by the way? I mean, that is hell of a strike.
That sums our season up, Neil.
But that's,
getting nowhere near it.
Is it that plum? It's got it post. It's come out. Liverpool,
says
it's
everything.
post,
They hit
it
the
goes
post,
in.
yeah.
You know, Mounier's bit post, same post against Chelsea. That would have made it 1-1 in that one. Comes out. We know the rest on that.
Do you want a
one.
stat? Huddersfield Town are joint second in most hit the woodwork, if that's a stat.
Behind Man City.
Behind Man City.
Is that right? I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Joint second with about 3 others, but still joint second, yeah.
De Potter concerns me though, and I don't. Again, this could be all to be confidence though. So once he gets a goal, he's off. But I remember seeing it at the start of the season in that friendly game. I think, he's lost a stone here. He looks kind of slicker, but I don't think. To me, he looks. This sounds really bad, and I know a lot of people. He looks like kind of a championship striker now, and I felt last season he was so important for us, really having impacts and things. I mean, I thought the header were poor. I thought on Saturday, it
was soft, wasn't it?
It was soft, but I'm not as excited when he gets the ball now or kind of threw on a chance. And I know we've got quite a bit of evidence that we could say, but then again, I wish a top striker were here. I don't think any of us are that, but maybe it's just he ain't got that goal near. But it just worries me at the moment.
I think if Liverpool had got the chances that Wade had on Saturday, they'd have got a couple more goals.
The problem, are we talking about the header where Alisson just caught it and then sat in it? The problem for me there is the cross. The cross makes the goal, and every time the ball comes over, the cross is aimed towards where the striker stood rather than in front of him, and that's one of the problems I have with the delivery from the right hand side.
It's just aimed.
And Mounier's constantly on the end of a cross where he has to head at goal from a static position. The cross has got to go into a danger zone between the keeper and the striker for me, and it never does.
I'd have put Bakuna on. I would have tried something a little bit different on Saturday rather than go for, again, De Potter and Mounier, but I think maybe that might have been a bit of a gamble, I suppose, just get him involved with the match day. I looked at our bench, it was funny, wasn't it? We saw the lineup, you're thinking, wow, that's such firepower. You know, what are we, well...
when he brought Mounier on, if you're not taking De Potter off, for me, I'd have brought Van La Parra on at that point.
I wouldn't have minded seeing another striker. Like, I don't know if Diakabi can play that, but just somebody who's going to move about a bit more.
Yeah.
If you look at Salah, he's moving about all the time into space, and that's why they've got that through ball for him. Whereas we've said it before, and we're much more static. But
when in space, he's out.
If you're going to bring if you're going to play 2 strikers, let's have one who can move about. Because the thing is, even if he's not getting the ball, if he's moving about, he's occupying defenders, taking them away from De Poitre or Mounier.
I'd understand us using those 2 big lads together if we were more of a Cardiff style team that do lamp it and do it strikers quick on edge, long balls, headers, edge at box. But we're not. We still try and work it wide and get a cross in, and use flat crosses, use box, cutbacks across, and it just doesn't suit them. Just doesn't suit them.
So whoscored.com, I had a look for some stats, says
not us.
So that website says that Schindler was our top performer on the day, followed by Christopher Lerver.
Based on what?
Aaron Moy and Hogg joint third. Do you guys agree with that, or is anybody that disagrees?
Johnny Hogg man at match on Saturday for me.
Easy. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. I always think when you watch it in a bar with other teams' fans and stuff, people, they were pretty soon, and I watched it in Newcastle, they were pretty clear who I was supporting, even though I had no colours on, and they were kind of pointing things out. That Hogg, what a player. He's, every time we've seen him, he's a top player in Liverpool. Who's that guy there? Billing kind of got a few mentions as well. A lot of it, for the throwing. But I thought again that was disappointing. Didn't really kind of
bit flat, isn't it?
Come off. Yeah, I think that can's plan B. But I'd argue all day long against Aaron Moy, and I suppose we've chatted off air. It's going to be a bit of a debate. This guy, my friend, was sat in the FM lower. I had a bit of a briefing after it because it's interesting when you speak to someone who's been there against someone who's not. I said Aaron Moy, but awful. I thought he was slow. I'd have had him off after an hour. I thought his second touch with a tackle, he really just a classic Moy, really, where I don't think he would really going to do anything for us apart from maybe lose the ball and cause them to score on a counter attack. And the guy I was speaking to said we were saying exactly the same during the game. How he stayed on that pitch is we can't believe. But yeah, I think you guys think total opposite, which is mad.
Call me Mick Morgan because I can't speak.
I
thought Moy was one of our better players. Some of the angles that he found, in particular from the passes to set us from the second third into the final third, I thought was excellent. That he transitioned everything in that game from the middle third into the final third, And one player I thought who played well as a result of that was Alex Pritchard as well, who was then able to buzz around into spaces. And he actually had someone who could find him. And I thought Aaron Moy was actually really good. He's never going to be lightning quick, in that final third. He's quicker than us, isn't he? But he's not made for speed, let's say. But I thought in terms of vision and his passing, I thought it was really, really good. To be honest, a bit dumbstruck.
Maybe on TV you don't see that there's no pass available, because he did, when there was a runner, like you say, he did pick out that pass. I think quite a bit he'll sort of look up and there were too often where there was no movement up front, so nobody to pass to. But he did make a couple of mistakes, but then they all did. I mean, Shindley could fault for the goal partly, although he had a great game. Likewise, Hogg did make a few mistakes as well.
Passes straight dead, weren't they?
Yeah, he did.
But Hogg was...
I thought Hogg was excellent.
Hogg was his top draw self on Saturday.
Neil, you made a good point when you did the bit prior to this on Radio Leeds. We were playing the team who lost in the Champions League final, and arguably maybe would have won it.
Yeah.
Just think about that for a minute.
I think the thing that stands out for me is, and I'm not a great one for... I know Matt loves a stat, but I'm not a great one for holding too much credence behind most of the stats. Yeah, it's end of the day, main ones who scores most goals. But that's the first time I think we've really gone toe-to-toe. We won at top side since we've come up. I know we beat Man U, but that was still a 70-odd,
I thought we had
a
fair go at Spurs as well, but not as much as...
Not like... Against Spurs, they killed us with 2 quick uns. I said to my dad, just before Liverpool scored, I said, I just thought we get to 70-odd minutes in this and we're still in a game and we've got something to go for it last 10, 15. And to be fair, at Town, the heads could have gone at 1-0 down. Obviously knowing our record of getting back into games. But at 1-0 down, I think we went again. It was like we found another gear and really got in the faces. And
I thought we were great.
That's what pleased me though. I'll go be honest, my head went and I thought, oh God, because I didn't think they started right well, Liverpool, and a bit similar to Tottenham when we were on that front foot for quite a bit. But how wrong can you be? That's what gives you so much hope for the rest of the season. Yeah. Which we'll probably comment on later on about, where we sit in the league and what have you, and moving forward. But that was pleasing for me till the end. I was thinking I want to see 10 minutes added on, because I felt we could do something here and that as well. But
I think they did a bit of a containment job second half, Liverpool, where they were playing more on the break. But yeah, I mean that was partially down to us as well, because we were pressing. But
yeah, I think you've got to. It's a good point, is that? But I think you've got to give Town credit, the fact that we actually worried them enough to sort of make sure, rather than go gung-ho, because. Let's be fair, in 2 games last season, we haven't laid a glove on them. They've absolutely... No. They've done us 3-0 easy twice. This time, we've come out of that with a very, very unfortunate defence.
I'm going to time jump forward a little bit, Neil, because I had to leave slightly earlier at the game and went to a wedding in Harrogate on Saturday, and I thought, I want to hear what people are saying about this, because Huddersfield have played well. So I put 5 Live on, nothing on it, still Savage and his... Whopperage on there, sadly.
Weapon is that.
Listened to Radio Leeds, which was pretty good, but that obviously finishes, quite early. So I decided to put TalkSport on, which was a huge mistake with Stuart Pearce and I can't remember the
it'll have been
Laura Woods.
Yeah,
Sam Matterface were at our game, weren't they?
But it was Laura Woods who was okay, and Stuart Pearce, and I listened to them for 30 minutes, and not once did they mention our name. It was Liverpool list. They had 6 Liverpool callers on in a row, all complaining at how
bad Liverpool were.
How bad they were and how they had a right to beat us 5-6-0. And Stuart Pearce played up to this, and the media coverage is completely garbage again. And
that's one at well, obviously I want us to stay up. We all want us to stay up, but I'd love us to stay up just to give a massive 2-fingered salute to everybody again.
Maybe people in the media would learn a Huddersfield player's name then.
Yeah, they might be able to say Huddersfield instead of Cruddersfield then, might they?
Had a bit of TalkSport on the way back on Sunday, and Matt Saggers, who I think one of the better pundits, they were talking about Liverpool game. But again, it was frustrating because they were mentioning how it was great game management, and a year ago that wouldn't have happened and stuff. I think what were interesting for me, if we had scored, could they have? I don't know if they could have turned it on and what, but they could have put Firmino on and what have you. But I felt that they were just in that cruise control. I don't think it would ever totally cruise control.
But you're not sure if they had another gear.
I think maybe we could have. Oh God, this sounds really bad. I think we could have got maybe even and won it. I just thought they were. It's almost like they were so laid back and relaxed doing what they're doing that it would have, kind of.
You could feel it in the crowd as well. The crowd stayed with Town right till last kick-it game, and you could feel if we'd have scored on Saturday, that place would have gone. You'd have heard it in Newcastle. It would have gone.
Klopp was getting really frustrated on the touchline as well on quite a few occasions, so he wasn't happy with how it was panning out for Liverpool.
He's the nicest aggressive person in the world, isn't he?
He said, didn't he, after his interview? He said after his interview that Huddersfield fans can go away feeling rightly aggrieved. I think he knew they were not playing as they wanted to. Some of his animation, he does
the thing is, every team's got one. I mean, look at Johnny Hogg's strike. Every team can hit one of them. It only takes that, and that's 2 or 3 inches to right. Keeper's nowhere near it. He's back at net, and that's all it takes.
It's all hypothetical chat, though. It's so frustrating.
It is, and it is frustrating as hell. But at least we're talking about defeats.
Yeah,
that are
not like the Chelsea game, really.
I don't want to say positive because I don't know if there's such a thing as a positive
last year,
defeat.
Neil, you said on that show that I agree. But you said we're a better team. I think last year, Liam Wobsell, who you're on with Yorkshire Evening Post guy who was there covering the game for Sutty, he wasn't sure on that, but I think we are, and I think the best is to come from our new signings. But of course,
absolutely.
We know the next 6. This is the time to,
we've
show
got
it.
I won't make a full judgment on this season until we get to past Man U on Boxing Day, and I think then you can start looking and thinking if we're still in bottom 3, then after run of games we'll have had, because there's only really Arsenal in that bunch of games who you're thinking potential to absolutely wipe floor with us. But we'll see.
So talking of the media, there's 2 decisions that we can talk about which didn't go our way. One of them, Danny Murphy. I'm resisting the urge to refer to him as Smeagol. I won't do that directly. And Chris Sutton.
I think you probably just have.
I deny it. And Chris and Chris Sutton as well. Both said it wasn't a penalty. I opened up the question to Twitter, and I've got no idea who these 13% are, to be honest.
Leeds or Bradford, probably.
But there's 87%, 218 votes. I only put it up this morning. 87% say penalty, 13% say no penalty. I would genuinely like to know why it wasn't a penalty. I've seen Liverpool fans try and use the excuse that it hit his thigh slightly before his arm as an excuse. That is not in the rule book.
If that's Johnny Hogg and not Milner, that's a penalty. Guaranteed.
Let's see what people say about that. So Eddie Hoyle says, no doubt whatsoever it was a penalty. It's not even debatable.
Correct, Eddie Son.
Graham Arena, who is probably in a bit of a daydream over your voice on Radio Leeds from half an hour ago, Neil.
Actually met him in ground on Saturday.
Law 12 says handling the ball involves a deliberate act of a player making contact with the ball with the hand or arm. How you prove that is obviously a difficult one, but if his arm is away from his body towards the ball, that's a bit of a giveaway. So I responded with a picture of the incident which shows Milner's arm out. I'm starting to sound really bitter here. Connor Kay says Stonewall penalty. Milner knows what he's doing. Michael Oliver gets it completely and utterly wrong, although I sympathise with the linesman for the Pritchard offside, which we'll come to in a short while. Thomas Hepworth says definite penalty, but it's a shame for Oliver, as I thought otherwise he reffed the game extremely well. I think that's a fair comment. He did, apart from that
try
one.
to let everything flow.
And Kevin Saunders says what you said, Neil. Would Liverpool have been given it at Anfield? No further questions.
I think they'd have been given it at Town.
I think they'd have been given it in a training match.
Yeah, 100%.
And Farsley Terrier said to my dad at the time, if that happens to one of our players in our box, it's a penalty to Liverpool. I would advocate random referees in the Premier League from all registered qualified.
The thing is, you'd see that if that had been Johnny Hogg and not Milner, I would genuinely, hand on heart, still say it's a pen. That
yeah. If it hits somebody's hand and it stops them from going to a player in an attacking position, and your hands
Johnny
are away
Hogg,
from your body,
forward to our player in box. Milner's in way, and the ball hasn't got there because of Milner's hand. Penalty.
Oh, it does me. I didn't Neil. I watched again. Boreham went to death room, which had played 12 o'clock. The VAR overturned a decision for Andy. He wasn't even half the handball that Milner did. You're seeing stuff like I've got to be honest. I don't know. I put that on my tweet because someone kind of countered me, and I don't know which team he'd support, but I really don't know what an handball is now. I've got to be honest with you. I don't.
Well, if that ain't a penalty,
I don't. Yeah. What is it? Is it
intent? If that's not an handball, I don't know what one is either.
Because he even said about a ball being by his side, his hand being by his side, it won't.
It's out.
Fair.
I'll tell you what, I think we've criticised our lads' reactions for some stuff that we're not, getting around the radar. Not that we condone it, but I don't think we could have said that on Saturday. We were all up for it, weren't we?
Yeah. I'll tell you what you can take as well. When you see claims for penalties and handballs and fouls and stuff, one of the biggest telling factors for me is reactions from crowd and reaction from players on pitch.
I said that at the time. Normally, you get the crowd going mad and ball, but the players are sort of getting on with it. Well, they all surrounded referee, everybody. And that, because I said to
it's pen.
Chap next to me, when you see players do that, you know that they're convinced it's handball.
Even Klopp said it would have.
I've got to say, to end the discussion on that, regardless, to keep talking, but Jurgen Klopp says it's a penalty.
Yeah.
I don't really see.
And them two clams on match at day, Shearer and Murphy,
Shearer
both saying it
quiet,
wasn't a penalty. Could you imagine them two? If that had been Shearer in a Newcastle shirt or Murphy in anybody's shirt.
Top 6 proper
It's
gander.
it's
I was sat with the most biased
They'd have
Liverpool
been
fan I know, and
screaming.
he said penalty, says we got really lucky with that. But lads, you know the answer to it, and it'll probably go against your soul. And I've changed my mind on it, and I didn't think bring it in, but VAR needs to come in, mate, because that does not
the only
happen.
way now that you will get a glimmer of half a chance of a decision going your way.
But the problem I have with VAR is that it goes to some other whopper with a top 6 bias who says no. I don't really see if that fixes a problem. Whereas we're going to talk about the Pritchard incident in a minute, and you can draw a line down.
I don't think it will, Matt. If it's used like it is in Spain, I've seen stuff given Real Madrid, Barcelona. That were always the argument there. Well, they're not going to give little clubs it. Wow, they're giving. It's got to be done with integrity and fairness. I think it's got to be brought in. It's as simple as that. I mean,
I don't think we get that in the
what came out of the Tottenham, that VAR trial and that was absolutely nothing. We've heard nothing, have we? It's so frustrating, though. I know, and I'd be saying it if it were the other way around. I would be.
Obviously, we had the penalty incident there, didn't we? With Danny Rose having his feet wiped out by a tug from outside the box.
But again, the positive though, we didn't let it get us down. We've just seen something at the post. We've gone behind to a bit, but we didn't let it get us down. We kept going. We were so positive. We were brilliant.
You see, my problem with VAR, Kosi, is if it were at that Tottenham game and it doesn't say that Danny Rose incident wasn't a penalty, then I've got no faith in it.
Well, I
the
thought that
only
would have
wind
been
up with that
different
one,
on
though, is that
your angles
the thing that did me on that one is the fact that he's fallen forwards, yet he's had his shirt tugged from behind.
5 steps.
You don't
after
fall
he's had
forward.
It's going to get more right than wrong. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And as long as it's done quick, the
It'd
World
give
Cup
you-
the World Cup shut a lot of people up who were
It,
criticised.
me, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was bad at first, but once it got going, it was all right.
And to be honest, if that happened other way, I don't. And Varda to come in and they give a Liverpool penalty, I'd have kind of fair enough. Yeah, he could have debated it. I know Eddie all's saying there it's not a debate. I think it is a debate, but to me,
Still a pen.
most to give. I
Debate,
mean, I've not
debate
looked
it and then give a pen.
as what as the papers kind of said on today. I mean, we had a few of that, didn't we?
A lot, the sort of better papers, shall we say, have actually mentioned about Town being sort of, not as bad as people have said, and one, I think, film at Nolte. I don't know who he writes for.
BBC.
He's
good.
Yeah, he said about, he tipped Town to stay up at start of the season. He stands by it.
That's beautiful. I hate to moan about it though, but your last 3 games.
The thing is, look at, I said it other way.
Tottenham,
look
Burnley,
at table.
incidents, the elbow, the
With our
rules.
start, with no wins in 9, we should be adrift. We should be looking now thinking, not Catinell's chance of getting out of this. Yet, we're still a win away from getting out at bottom 3.
For me, it's not that near line. I just firmly believe one more. I mean, the guy on the radio leads, I don't know about what he's saying. The next 6 games, he thinks we can get something out of all 6 by the Arsenal, I think, on the end. Yeah. But it's like...
You get on a roll, though, and that
yeah,
also
I
the
think
Arsenal game's
that
not
could
as
happen,
bad.
though. And
Thing is, what we're playing, we'll actually look quite a confident side still. And you can go in toe-to-toe with Liverpool, and you're unlucky. But the reaction from crowd at end tells you all you need to know that it's a club that's together from top to bottom. Chairman, manager, fans, boot room, whoever, it's all fully together. And I think we get one goal. Just need to get in front.
listen to that. Listen to how we were after that Leicester game. Play your pod back after Leicester. We were in here and we were like
hanging ourselves.
Yeah, we were hanging ourselves. It's ominous. We've not won a game since.
No.
But
we haven't won a game since we
it's
started
chalk
this
and cheese
podcast.
now.
It's genuinely our fault.
Yeah. Get it off the air.
And he doesn't
get
take
these
that
whoppers off the air.
So this week's Whoppers of the Week is us.
Oh dear. All right, so speaking of Whoppers, BT showed the offside goal and decided to mark it not from Van Dijk's first. Well, this is from a tweet from I can't remember who it was. It was an Arsenal fan, I think.
Yeah,
and he showed the line that BT put on TV wasn't from the furthest point back of Virgil van Dijk. He suggested it was BT trying to make it look like Pritchard was offside. We've seen the still from when the ball was played. Offside for you, Danny?
I've seen that picture, and certainly that picture shows it's not offside. But I don't know, is that the exact moment? Because looking at it on Match of the Day, looking on Match of the Day, it did look offside to me, as narrow as it was. And people are sort of saying, well, you've got to give the benefit. But if the linesman's seen it as he's seen it, then to me, he's called it right.
It's a tough call for a linesman, is that? To be fair, you can't. I've done it before, run a line, and it's very difficult.
It's impossible.
Yeah,
I've done it as well.
He's obviously seen the Huddersfield player ahead of the Liverpool player in terms, but the foot's obviously the foot's moving. It's very difficult to track. So I don't altogether blame the linesman.
They always say that they've got to give the benefit to the attacker, but you never see that, do you?
No,
How many times have you seen that?
You never do. But
that's only for me. It's a goal. It's not offside. You look at that still. If that's a still dead on as the ball's played, he's not offside unless you can now score with your arms.
And this is where I'm with you.
That's still certainly right. But
I always think your best reactions you won at the time. You were in the ground. Watching the telly, I thought offside. I think Pritchard were one of those who kind of wasn't like. Sometimes you see him waving the finger as if to say you've got it wrong or whatever. I think he thought I probably what. But
to be honest, I didn't cheer because on stuff like that, my first reaction is to look at linesman. It
was up straight away because I'd seen it. I didn't get up either because I thought.
I think the biggest thing is that Huddersfield have scored a goal at home, and naturally you're thinking this can't be happening. This is not reality.
We're getting closer. It's like a booby prize, isn't it? It's like, look, it's like, you've scored a goal. No, you haven't.
I'll tell you what, DVD's going to be awesome in it this season, like home goals.
We'll stop doing all that month.
It's bad,
including training videos.
It's bad, and I think August was like tackle of the month, wasn't it? With Congo. Chelsea.
When I won throw-in of the month.
It's got to be Danny Williams tackle of the month, hasn't it? Sure.
So I'm going to say the offside goal. I'm not going to blame the linesman, but this is where I think VARs would obviously be very useful. Did it come off a Town player? Did it come off Schindler or Lallana? It looked like a bit of both to me when it showed it on Match of the Day, which would be offside if he then was.
But you can't blame officials for that one for me.
No, I'm not going to go after him.
The header.
Yeah,
it was a Hogg, wasn't it? Hogg and Lallana.
Whoever it was.
I think you could argue he headed it onto Lallana, but I'm pretty sure that Town player, I think it's Hogg, got the first contact anyway.
Is this for the Liverpool goal?
For the offside.
For the offside.
Oh, for the offside, right, okay.
Yeah. So, we're not going to harangue anybody after that, but one player, when you talk about pace, Neil, I thought, obviously Mohamed Salah's lightning, isn't he? One player who handled him.
So as well. He
Yeah.
doesn't look quick, does he?
No, he don't.
He's rapid.
Yeah.
But one player who handled him brilliantly on the day was Chris Lerver. His covering, it beat him in the air every time. Covering, excellent. I thought Lerver had another outstanding game. And Neil, you've done a poll.
I have. Just a random one. I don't think it's not even finished yet.
You've done the poll. Go on, Neil.
So on the Twitter feed last night, I just put up a quick question to all Town fans to vote on their Player of the Year so far. The options were Christopher Schindler, Chris Lerver, Philip Billing, or other, and the other got 3%. Third place with 21% is Schindler. Second place with 34% is Philip Billing, and comfortably out in front with 42% Chris Lerver. And it's absolutely bang right. Chris Lerver is, for me, far and away Player of the Year so far.
Well, those two are far and away, are they?
Yeah, Lerver and Billing, but Lerver's been excellent. He's seen off the arrival of a £5 million fullback last summer.
Oh, Scott Malone, yeah.
Yeah, he's seen him.
Apparently that was 3.5.
Whatever it was, it was too much, wasn't it? So
yeah, well, apparently that was the song, and the player cost $100,000. But
so he's gone.
It's a great song.
So and regardless, Lerver's seen him off. He's gone.
Yep, absolutely. Congolo did as well, didn't he, last year? So
and he's well worth his place. Well worth his place.
He is. Fantastic. I would have had. Well, there's only how many have we played? 9 games. It's not an awful lot. Eric Durham for me has done really well, and if he continues in the same vein, then he's going to be up there. Congolo started very well, but obviously he's got the injury now. So we've had some good performances.
It's just too early for like Durham to be included in that for me, with the amount of games he's played or not played. I think if he did it again at Christmas and he carries on as he is, I don't think there's any doubt he'll be in there.
I think maybe a better poll, or he might have got the same result. Who's the most improved player? Because I don't think you could argue Billing and Lerver for sure. I think because Johnny Hogg would be featuring on that for me, but I suppose a Cardiff, shenanigans will probably take him out of the of that. But yeah, I thought Saturday were absolutely outstanding.
Well, to be fair, Lerver was really good in the running last year as well. Yeah, he played really well at Man City. Chelsea, I thought it was really excellent.
And Benza's giving us little glimpses, isn't he?
Teasing.
Yeah, he's teasing.
Carver did for about a minute and a half. He were on pitch.
Yeah, what was the point in that? 90 minutes plus, he would daft for that.
I don't know, he got him behind a couple of times, a couple of crosses in.
And Benza, though, just like, honestly, we're still waiting for this moment.
It was a funny one, though, because when he brought Diakabi on, Stankovic was stripped down, ready to come on. And I looked over and says to me, Dad, what's the point in that?
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, Stankovic is sat down and Diakabi's
I mean, I'd had a drink on Saturday. I saw Stankovic coming on 90 minutes.
I was listening to it on the radio at that point because I had to, I had to leave slightly early, and they were saying on Radio Leeds that they thought they were going to throw him up front, for the hype.
The old F.
So, I'd say that Lerver went straight down the tunnel afterwards. I don't know if that was an injury concern or something.
He always does. He's worst. He's self-confessed worst loser.
It looked like he was just telling him to get back out, but he just straight down.
He can't cope with it. Can't Lerver. He's lost. Have done well. He's put everything in. He just gets out of the way.
Fair enough.
That's his thing, innit?
We're no good doing this podcast. We'd never have an episode out, would we?
Oh, would we?
I don't think, Congolo's far off. I know they give the 5, but he sounded like a long... He
said it after
2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks, for Fulham.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Which is really, really good.
But there's a competition for places at the back. I mean...
Well, that's a good point.
Schindler is going to be an interesting one.
What would you do, Kosi? Would you put Congolo back at left back? Because despite how well Lerver's played, would you go to a back three again, or would you drop one of Schindler or Zanka? It's a tough one.
It is.
They don't get back in at the moment.
To be fair for me, I've said this before. I don't like the term drop. I think
rotate.
It's a squad game, and I think it's horses for courses. And at some point, we look better with the 4 for me. And I just think that you've got a Lerver is more than worth his place. He's best left back we've got. It's as simple as that for me.
He's so ruthless as Premier League football, though, isn't it? We saw Sam Vokes just a teeny bit out Gilmore, to be fair, quite a lot at Burnley. Goal. Saturday, Schindler were just a second, but against the best. Yeah. It's a goal, and I don't want to back because Schindler's punching above his weight like we all are as a team, and this is a guy, I just can't. It's awful, but we've got to point it out.
But if you look at it another way, we're very, very lucky to be where we are in league to have 3 very good centre backs.
Yeah.
And if it means we've only got to pick 2 of them, that's just how it is. Yeah. One of them sat on the bench and they've got to work hard in training to get back in.
Another one's trying to smash James McLean up during the week as well. Well,
let's be honest. You'd all love it if you go to Watford next week and win. Defence plays well again. Congolo's fit for Fulham. He's bench for me. He's sat on bench watching.
No, I should. I tell you what, though, lads, we got it wrong. We touched on it last week, didn't we? And we all kind of said it was nothing to kind of get moan about. And you were saying, if Zanka didn't say that, we'd be it's a non-story. But it wasn't for David Wagner. No. It was really interesting with that one. And it went public on his press conference.
He was a Denmark manager who was kicking off that, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were saying it's been misquoted and what have you, but Wagner, he didn't go much about it.
What I find amusing, Kosi, is this guy from Denmark has just spent 18 months playing a Brentford centre-back at centre-half instead of a Premier League player, and now he's going on about how players need to play as high as possible. It just seems a bit hypocritical to me.
Yeah, it does, without a shadow of a doubt. Because that lad started World Cup in front of Zanka, didn't he?
Isn't it beautiful, though, that the manager just... I don't care who you are and whether you're captain or not. He's just got standards. It's just beautiful to have a manager that just like...
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Yeah. And it's big that to national media with all Liverpool. Imagine all in there. Whether that would have made a point on purpose, I must admit, I just saw him saying it. I didn't know if it were a direct question. I'm assuming it has, but I just thought that were impressive. Again, I just thought a bit like
it didn't affect Zanka's performance.
I'll take you back to his very first interview at Huddersfield Town when he walked in, and the first question he got from Sky, surprise, surprise, why have you turned down Liverpool? His first thing was said, I'm not here to talk about Liverpool. Sling your hook. And from that moment, it was like, Love this guy.
Yeah.
What did you make of his joint interview after? I know a few people, the game's gone, he
I
should
am
be mad
actually,
and all
I
this.
actually watched it.
Again, people making a mountain out of a molehill, isn't there? But
you wouldn't see it anywhere else apart from with them two, would you?
Nah.
But that said, because it's them two, you know the relationship they have. Is it a problem? Nah, not for me.
Well, interesting just seeing some. Obviously, you would have seen the build-up and that, what were on TV, but I saw Bueller and Klopp, they were in a long chat for about 10 minutes before the game and things like that as well. And part of me's thinking, is there a striker, Jurgen?
Let's be honest.
Dom Solanke
from January.
Feed us, Jurgen. Feed us.
If you don't mind, Jurgen, do your old pal a favour and keep us up.
I'd be on the phone going, look, mate, you've done nothing for us since Danny Ward.
Yeah.
Now, that was a big thing, obviously, but
we've upped his value
on,
for you for a year.
Yeah. What's interesting is it would be interesting to know if he does a little whisper here to David Wagner and go, do you know what, David, there's this guy in France who's playing at the minute for Montpellier who's decent. Our guys think he's just slightly below us. You should have a look at him. I wonder if stuff like that goes
Maybe,
on.
but we'll still take Solanke if you don't mind.
I'd take that.
We've done the French market, haven't we? Let's move.
Look, Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't play on Saturday. I'd have him in as well. So I'd go full well. I'd play the Frank card.
And get on bench.
The trouble is, there'll be town fans have known about how much his name costs up on the back of his shirt. So there's Alexander, it's disgusting, Sean. You'd be tweeting him. Should be doing a deal on his name.
You've even put his first name.
Yeah.
River.
T-A-A.
What's the next bit?
It's the Whopper of the week.
The things you say, your pronouns just give you away. The things you say, you're unbelievable.
Huddersfield are a dreadful team. They are masquerading as a Premier League team right now. They're basically a Championship team in Premier League clothing. That's basically what they're. In fact, maybe League One.
Whoa! What a whopper!
You're so unbelievable.
Right, Neil. So,
how come it's always Neil who gets to decide a Whopper week? Is he like the
high
almighty of Whopperism?
He is.
Okay.
It's like the Judge Judy of the Whoppers.
Correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy. there's a Photoshop in there.
Emperor Whopper.
Right, Neil. You have been on Whopper Watch. To be fair, this one I was kind of like, right, Danny Murphy, Whopper, Chris Sutton, Whopper, but this guy. Take it away.
Yeah, I'll stick to Whopper because there's all sorts I could call him. Yeah, dishonourable mentions for Chris Sutton for being a Whopper. Danny Murphy and Shearer on Match at Day. Absolute pair of Whoppers. But without a shadow of a doubt, it's got to be, and I'll make sure I say his name right, so I've been saying it different all week. It's got to be TalkSport's very own Jason, the massive Whopper Cundy.
Let's be honest, everyone who has a spray tan all year round is a massive Whopper.
Correct.
Nearly works for Chelsea TV, and I still think he's got a bit of a still agenda from the game.
I don't doubt it.
There's no doubt for me.
But for somebody to rattle on about, and I know they do it for calls and they do it for exposure and whatever else and to spark debate, but if you've got to spark debate by referring to a team as Huddersfield,
a 5-year-old
and
does that.
Keeping it going, yeah, it is.
This guy is a professional. He's on a national broadcasting station.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be a professional.
Yeah,
and not only does he say that, which is 5-year-old banter, year 9 banter. That should be, that old Twitter feed, which was garbage. And he can't name a Huddersfield Town player. We've been in the Premier League. This is our second season, and the guy can't name a player.
I'll tell him one. De Poitre cost you a Champions League place, son.
Yeah, and it's Frank Sinclair.
Cost you the Champions League place. Christopher Schindler cost you a Champions League place. What an absolute whopper. It's just disgraceful journalism. There's no...
It's not journalism, it's whopperism.
What were the context in saying that, Neil? What were they talking about?
It was basically rattling on about how town have got to make changes, and we're a Championship club wearing Premier League clothing. Then he said no. Then he said no, probably even League One.
I mean, you know from that we've obviously seen more League One football than he's ever going to see
Absolutely,
from that alone. But
yeah.
I'd love to see our team in League One. It'd be awesome.
Well, all it says to me is, and I think Kosi's bang right, I think it just shouts out, it screams out complete bitterness. Because he had us down last season, and then little old Cruddersfield have rocked up at Stamford Bridge and robbed them of a Champions League spot. And I think it's stung him.
And we did it our way.
Yeah, and I think
we danced on their turf, and I think he's looked at that. It's really, I think since that moment, mate, that's been.
But it's just poor. You know, if that's a national radio station, that's what they've got to resort to.
But it's this 21st century journalism thing, isn't it?
Awful. It's like that's Pratt who used to work for Examiner, isn't it? That's the kind of thing he'd have done, isn't it? But he'd have done it in local paper. You know, Cruddersfield. But it's just wrong. The lad who rang up, to be fair, actually handled himself very, very well. He sort of.
Was he a town fan, wasn't he?
Yeah, lad mugged him right off. And he just said, before we carry on, Jason, just name me 3 Huddersfield Town players.
To be fair, I mean,
tried to shout him down. He couldn't name 3.
Cundy got mugged off by Piers Morgan over the sexism comments on the commentator, didn't he? So if you get mugged off by Piers Morgan,
over
sexism.
Yeah, and he had to issue an apology, which looked like he were keeping his job on the back of that, really, wasn't it?
But
he shouldn't be broadcasting.
If that's what they need to get calls and get bites and get custom, fair play to them, that. But it's not for me.
We said it last week, football snobbery, mate, and it's just like, I'll tell you what, let's see their team if Eden Hazard ever got injured. Move on.
Yeah. So there's your Whopper of the week, Jason Cundy.
You said it well, Neil. You could have had a slip there.
I just don't want to give Matt more editing.
Watford.
Can we get them 6 points off them again? Because it's you put us onto some guys that's from Love Sport Radio, I think, last night, and wasn't the most exciting interview. But what I would say is that when I said it to him, says, "When was the last time when you won?" And I said, "When we beat you." And one of the things, sorry, just going back to Saturday, Paul Ince was in the studio and it were on mute, and I just wonder whether
Whopper.
If you'd have kept my Tom, there would have been none of that. I don't know if he ever. There's my Tom Ince impression, or Paul Ince impression even. But yeah, they were saying what you said, Neil. It was quite interesting, really, on there where they had a shock win on Saturday. No one expected them to do it. I know that Nuno's Wolves manager said it would all to do with complacency as usual, so it was nothing that Watford did right. But I just wonder, they're going to think Huddersfield, unless they're really into it, if they're like Jason Cundy, who's never seen us play, they'll think they're bottom out one for ages and stuff like that as well. They'll be probably tempered with what they saw last season when we took advantage of Silva losing the plot a bit. But this is the moment, innit? Well, can we get the job done? Although they played well on Saturday.
I've just been obviously on with Johnny on Radio Leeds tonight, and he asked me about Watford game, and he threw in the old nightmare question of a prediction and what have you. And I have very bravely, I hate making predictions, but I've gone for a 2-1 win as long as we score first. I think scoring first is the key to it. But I think if we can't take confidence from the last couple of performances, I think, we'll forget it.
Have we sold out, lads, for that? Because I know it's a stop. Yeah, that's good. Isn't it incredible? Typical Yorkshire folk. We just knocked £5 off the ticket, innit? And it's like...
it's a sellout.
It's a sellout. Well, of course, it's... that's weird, that. We're a funny lot of town fans, aren't we? We don't... Why do we sell out there,
I think a lot of that is because it was such a good day last season. And even without the result, it were cracking down at Watford last season.
But it's like what you've said before. I honestly think it is... based on now with our eyes, we're playing. It's good to watch the last 3 games, even though we've not done anything kind of getting too close to a win. And I think that I want to be part of it. I want to go.
And I think one thing that will work in his favour is obviously they've just had a great result at Wolves, and I think they'll be buzzing. And I think they might just take us a little bit too lightly because a lot of their fans and players alike. It's what they hear from national media. And let's be honest, they're based down there. It's what they lay down there from all their media, and to look at table, and we haven't won a game yet, and we've just seen us lose again without scoring. So
Cathcart and Mariappa, they're not the best centre backs, Neil. Come on, we can get in there and cause.
Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, they got run ragged last season by Kwana. without being too
Chunga had a blind as well, so he got injured.
until he got injured.
He got injured on that game and that as well. They've got Will Hughes, Delafeu, obviously Everton.
I mean, always it's the one for them, innit?
I think that Dakara's quality.
Is that him? It's him in it who scored the
what a
absolute
goal.
screaming against us.
Yeah, he's
quality,
capable of that.
He's very, very good.
Or was it? No, it's Capu, I think, that got the screamer, wasn't it?
No, Dakari, who scored. We're down at their place.
Oh, sorry, I thought I meant on Saturday.
No, against us.
Oh, yeah.
Against
Did you see
us.
Saturday's goal?
Yeah,
that was an
good goal.
absolute, yeah.
And then that Pereira into those.
He's a strange one. He's on fire, isn't he?
He's interesting, though, isn't it?
Bring him on. It's a game you've got to go and think, we've got to get something out of this one.
We had them down to, I think we were bottom 3, weren't we? We weren't impressed with Gracia, what he'd done.
A surprise team.
What a start that they had in that as well.
They did this last season, though.
Yeah, they were saying that Watford is always seen by Newcastle's, Huddersfields and these others, without being patronising that, you'll always think you can come to Vicarage Road and get something from the game and that as well. And I think they
would us, though, wouldn't they, to be fair?
Yeah, definitely, and that as well. But the fact that we've sold out like 2 weeks before the game, it quite excites me. But it's like what you kept saying, Neil, it kept making mentioned, it's time to put up.
Yeah, it's all right going on about how well we're playing.
This is it, isn't it, now?
We've got to start putting some points on board.
Yeah, this is it.
Because it only takes 2 of those teams above us to start putting points on board, and all of a sudden...
It's bleak, isn't it?
Yeah, you're stranded.
This is the block of fixtures now where we've really got to start, performances doesn't matter. Yeah. Get the results.
But imagine that going back at Fulham with some kind of win on... yeah.
If you look at it,
more goals than
we've got, what, 30 games left, 30 games left. We've got to start winning 1 in 3, really.
Yeah, 38 points does seem a long way.
So it's a big ask, but when you look round at who's round us and the points that they've got, yeah, it's a big ask, but they've got to do it as well.
I was chatting to some of the Newcastle fans on Saturday when they come back into the city. Wow, I want to listen to their podcast tonight.
They've got some easier fixtures coming up, haven't they? But that started with Brighton.
But the mood is toxic, though. Ashley and that, and where's it going to end?
It always confuses me when people always say, "Oh, Newcastle atmosphere's up there is amazing." When we went up there, it was awful.
Yeah, that Brighton game, they were all leaving as well. They all left before end, and they were still in it at 1-0.
How's Benitez never questioned though? I just don't get it. It's incredible.
God syndrome.
I dared to mention it on Saturday. Nearly got like
it's that net spend obsession.
Blinded
because that's what they used to defend him. But he's still got quality players at his disposal.
Yeah.
And you just throw that net spend argument in there. No, yeah.
You see,
they're at it again today.
Yeah,
on Sky
Sports again today. That Pete Graves from Sky's.
They completely ignore the biggest wage bill in Championship history by a mile.
It's because he's a big mates with Rafa and gets.
I've had a couple of bites from Newcastle fans.
It shouldn't even be bites though. They've got a massive wage bill, but they just refuse to take it into account. Like it doesn't
gutting that we haven't got them for a bit, isn't it? But to be fair, I don't think. Yeah, it's. But I mean, how did you see that Cardiff Fulham game? I mean, it was quite a mad game, wasn't it? And that as well. And I must admit, I thought a draw obviously would have been a better one, but just for Cardiff to get a few goals, Fulham. It sounds like he's a couple of games.
Well, you know what's going to happen, don't you? He's getting sacked before they come to us, isn't he? Then they'll rock up at us and do us forward again.
I did say at the start of the season though, they're very open and expansive, and as soon as they get up, and they get and people work them out, then that's when they're going to struggle and they're going to have to change.
The biggest mistake they've made is they brought in. Well, it's well known that they spent over 100 million quid, but they brought in about 7 or 8 players on deadline day itself, and then they're all playing. Come on.
Yeah.
You can't just chuck them all in and expect to start winning games in Premier League. I mean, if you're letting 4 in at Cardiff, you've got some problems, haven't you?
There's some good players there.
Let's just hope that they get an okay result in the next game and he's still there for when we play him.
And an injury to Schürrle, that'd be... Yeah, obviously, you never want to see anyone harmed, but it'd be good to see him not playing for a while.
Suspension for Sessegnon as well.
Yeah.
See, but I tell you, it's interesting. I mean, Palace, they've got some honking fixtures coming up. I can feel the pressure's kind of on our mate Roy.
Turn there.
Yeah. One man.
One team and that as well. That's what I mean. If we can just claw ourselves back into that week, obviously 4 points.
He's getting a lot of criticism for being one-dimensional as well.
Because they'll turn out there. Our fans ain't going to turn on David Wagner then we're not going to turn. I don't think on the
Not
team.
while we're playing like
It's the one thing that we have got above all of them down there is the togetherness.
That's at Cardiff. That's Cardiff as well.
Oh yeah, Cardiff will have that. But
No, it was linked with the sack was Warnock a couple of weeks ago. Still, they were talking about it. I mean, right. I don't think the fans want it, but the media's talking
about Wagner though.
There's nobody down there as tight as Tam.
Well, I mean, Warnock himself was talking about it.
I'm going to say, dude, Oliver Ringers up like, I've put all this money in.
Good old Warnock.
But no, it's. I'm looking forward to the game already and that as well. But it is, these next 6 games, they made a big feature of it on BT on Saturday after the game, and I think we know what we've got to do. So let's talk. We've got Watford, Fulham. Come on, we've done this prep.
I've forgotten.
I know there's Southampton and Newcastle coming up at home as well, isn't
Watford, Fulham, West Ham at home, Wolves away, Brighton at home, Bournemouth away, Arsenal away, Newcastle at home before Christmas, and Southampton at home.
I think when we're having this Christmas turkey, I think we're going to know that way.
Yeah.
Whether we're winning.
That's what I said earlier on. We've up until Boxing Day, we'll go to Man U, and we'll have a very good idea by then of how the second half of the season. Don't get me wrong, we're still going to be in a fight all the way through the second half of the season, but we're going to know whether it's a fight that's worth fighting or whether we're just sort of
need Uncle Jurgen to do us a favour.
To the joy, imagine if we won. I don't even want to talk about it. I just get so excited thinking about it. That come on, this is it now.
It's far from over. Just look at the table. It's far from over.
That's not a team that's down.
Nobody's
and
pulling
dead
away.
weight. No one's.
And from saying there's 2 or 3 certainties to go down, it's now from 9 or 10 teams.
I like the fact that, I mean, we mentioned it. Lever maybe went down the tunnel, what have you, but there were a good walk round, applauding and that as well.
Most of them.
Yeah, most of them and that as well. They're all good signs. They were proper gutted. It were almost like they felt like, I think we all did that. We weren't far away from getting something there. So it's not, this isn't a team.
But it's got to do them good, putting a performance like that against a team like Liverpool, and then getting that kind of applause at end of game, because you could have conceivably thought, if you just walked in as final or something, you'd have thought would have won. The response the players got after the final whistle were just...
Yeah, the stands were still more or less full, weren't they?
Yeah, there weren't as many flooding out as normal, so a lot to look forward to, but Saturday's a big one. Get in front, we'll win that. And then take it from there. That's a big statement, isn't it?
I'm going draw if we're doing predictions, but that's positive. That's positive for me.
Yeah, it's a step up for Danny,
I'm kind of itching towards draw just because they're still in form, Watford, whereas last year they just started their dip, hadn't they, where we went there. So hopefully we start a dip. But they can be a bit up and down, so hopefully last week they've been up and next week they'll be down, so that'd be very, very nice.
Saturday, I think, I've had some honking predictions, but this is it. We're going to
predict a town defeat, mate, and then we might
This is it. We're stopping in a place called Ripley on our way back on our bus on Saturday. Yeah, not the greatest place, but when you've won, the beer will taste sweet. So, yes, it's coming, boys and girls. Watford 2, Huddersfield Town 3.
Wow.
2.
Don't drink on a Monday night.
Speaking of drinking, I think there's only one thing left to do, isn't there? And that's for Richard Kosmala to sing out the show.
Come on, then.
I'm not doing the duet,
Yeah,
so
here we go.
Don't go breaking my heart.
Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road.
All right.
Yeah, don't go.
Sing us out with an Elton John tribute for us all going down there on Saturday. 2 goals in a game. Yes, it's been a long, long time. 3 points. It's been a very long, long time. But it's happening Saturday, so get your singing voices on up the town.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears.
Pate's got a chance and he scores! Jack Pate scores!
Effort is in there!
Smith scores for Huddersfield Town! 3-2 Town! Boris Sherry, Danny Ward saves! Danny Ward saves! The Quattro's in, round De Gea, 2-0 Huddersfield Town.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!